All right, welcome to Stock Analysis Friday on this February 23rd, 2024. Welcome, everybody. All right, so the purpose of Stock Analysis Friday, I know many of you are new, but for those that aren't new, of course, you know the procedure here where you type your symbols in the comments area, and please type those in caps for us. Makes it a lot easier to see. And we can look up ETFs or stocks, whatever you'd like to take a look at, we will analyze. So go ahead and start doing that now when you're ready. And welcome again, all the new folks here. And let me just go through a few quick administrational items. First thing I want to talk about, of course, are the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand. We need you to be aware of the risks. We want you to trade with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. And that's an extremely important first step in trading the markets, because everything is probabilities in the markets with no guarantees. We never know when we enter a trade, even with a proven trading system, if that one particular trade is going to be a winner or not. It's kind of like when a casino operates, they never know what hand of blackjack they're going to win at. But overall, if you have an edge, you're going to be a winner in the net proceeds. So that's the same thing you want to apply with trading. Always protect yourself against the downside and always do risk control. And we can help you with that. Things like calculating your trade size, also known in the industry as your position size, is really vital. And then finally, please pass all this information through your financial advisor or whoever manages your money before actually taking a trade, because we're going to give you some suggestions on stocks that you may or may not be aware of. And it's a good idea to run that by your financial advisor to be sure they're suitable for you. We don't know your personal situation, and of course they do. All right, so that's really important. And also too, in terms of some information on money management, we got two great books out right now, Money Management for Traders and A Trader's Money Management System available. I have my new book coming out, The Art of Trading on the Far Right, second edition, being published by Wiley. And that is going to be out later this year. It's going to be a really good book. It's going to be about 400 to 450 pages in length. So a lot of material in there, and you can pre-order that as well. And I'll put a link up at the bottom there for when you guys, when we finish here, to watch the recording, and a link will be in there. Elliott Wave Techniques still is one of the best sellers out there on the Elliott Wave. That came out years ago, published by McGraw-Hill. And that's doing extremely well, along with the Survival Guide for Traders. So definitely check those out. All right, when we look at charts today, we're going to be using a variety of software tools developed by TradersCoach.com. And that includes the ART software, the OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERI. Also, we have scanners and risk control software. So you can go to our website and check that out. Again, I'll put some links on the bottom when you watch the recording for those that do, and you can access more information about that at that time. And then finally, like, subscribe, and share. All right, the more people we share this event with, the more people we get coming back, and therefore have more stocks to look at. All right, so I'm going to switch to full screen here, and we're going to dump in and take a look at some of the actual markets. Before we get going here, a few quick going over what you're looking at here in terms of the chart setup. And what we have here is 3 time frames on a platform called Ninja Trader. And so the first chart on the far left is a 60-minute chart. This gives you the short-term aspect. This is the daily chart, which is an intermediate aspect of what we're looking at. This is the weekly chart, which is, of course, the long-term look. So when we bring up a stock or an ETF, and this happens to be an ETF, we'll go over this in just a minute. What we like to do is kind of look at the different time frames. It helps us better in timing things. We get a look at the overall cycle in the long term. Then we kind of take a look and see what the prospects are for a position trade, and see if the momentum on the 60-minute chart perhaps even has a better trade to take, or just helps us with the overall timing. The multicolored window at the top is our scanners. We will not be using those today because you're going to be giving me the picks. And then at the bottom, we have something called the OWL down here. And this is measuring momentum in the market. It's a histogram. and it's also counting the Elliott wave. So it's indicating we're in an Elliott wave 3 right now in the GBTC ETF, which is Bitcoin. Also, too, below that, it's a PTF indicator, indicating more highs are coming on Bitcoin. And then under that, the trend line, of course, called the trend line master, is bullish. And then we have the ERI measuring fear and greed at this time. And currently it's neutral because it's a fairly standard type of move up. It's orderly, so it's not out of whack, so to speak. So that's GBTC. Now, a couple things I want to talk about before I get to your picks there is on GBTC, which is a crypto, more highs are coming. Long term, we're very bullish on this. Our first initiated buy on this was just under $10. We're sitting at 45.30. We think there'll be no problem getting above 60. Can't guarantee anything, but that's kind of what we're looking at. And then probably even much higher than that. So we're long-term bulls on GBTC. Now, with that said, we're probably due for some profit taking at any time. And so if we look at this chart and draw in a quick fib retracement, if that profit taking was going to occur now, we could expect it to drop down in between these two blue lines, which is a fib retracement right in here. And this would then be categorized as an Elliott wave 4. So this would be a 3. So it's possible if it started right now that we would get down to $35.66, down to $28.49. So that's pretty significant. However, once it gets down into that profit-taking wave 4 zone, we should see bullishness come back even with more new highs. So that is the overall forecast. Now, I don't know if we're going into a retracement right away. We could make one more high before doing that and then come down. So we're going to keep an eye on it. Certainly right now, you know, if you look at this, the trend line master is indicating that this trend here is not faltered yet. So we're still technically in an uptrend. So it may be a little too early, obviously, to draw the fib retracements, but at some point it will retrace. We have a very strong owl on the 1 minute here. So we've got a lot of bullishness still in this market. This has come back over to green on the short term, but we'll see. All right, we'll see. We could take out one more hook to the upside before we retrace. And if that's the case, then we'll redraw those retracement lines. So bullish on GBT. So I'm not going to recommend it since it's a little late to get in it. Hopefully many of you can get, we've been, you know, pounding the table on buying this for a long time now. And many of you, of course, are in it already, which is great. And just stay with it and then keep coming back every week. And if we see this thing going into a profit-taking correction, you can take some action to start exiting a little bit at that particular point. All right, so looks pretty good still, but I'm not going to recommend it. A little late to get in at this point. All right, let's hit some of these stocks you guys want to do, and let's see who we got upcoming first. Bradley, how are you? So Bradley, just so you know, has just purchased our software tools over the last week or so, and we got them all installed on TradeStation. So TradeStation is a great platform as well. So I want to personally welcome you, Bradley. And let's take a look and see what we got cooking here. So CB is our first one here. And Bradley, as a new client, new member of our trading family here, be sure to, if you have the time, attend the client support webinars every Wednesday. Those are free supports, and I do those myself with everybody. And definitely tune in, because if you have any questions on how to use the software, I can help you with it at that time. And those are weekly sessions every Wednesday. All right, let's get to GB. I don't know if you're long or short, okay? If you type in a symbol, let me know if you're long, short, or thinking about it type of thing. So in this case here, very bullish, all right, just like GBTC, it hasn't pulled back yet. My only concern is we're a little late to getting in. We have a little bearish divergence building if you look on the far left-hand side chart on the owl here. So this kind of wave 3 is starting to kind of, I think, getting a little bit on the mature side. So I don't want to recommend this yet. If you're in it already, you have several options. You can put your stop under here. So if we goes into a profit-taking situation, you can take some profits on this. Or if you'd rather just stay with it, put your stop way under this bottom here so you can survive the profit-taking situation. If you want to, scale out and then put another stop under there, there's different ways in which you can manage this trade. If you want to scale out a little earlier, you can use the pyramid here on the 60-minute chart. So the ART software, which is drawing these triangular pyramid shape icons on your chart, what that's doing is it's looking for certain patterns in the market. They're trend trading patterns known as fractals. And what we do then is draw that in the bottom of the pyramid. In this case, the flat part would be your stop. And then the point here is when the pyramid's confirmed. And so what we usually like to do is enter in on those pyramids when they're like the first, second, or third one. After we've had 4 or 5, like you see here, it's getting a little late. So at this particular point, that's what I would recommend on that. But if you're thinking about going into it, let's wait for a retracement and then take a look later on that. So I think you can kind of move on and see if there's another opportunity. Let's take a look at RL. It's funny in the stock market. I mean, it's been so bullish now for so long that most of the trades we're going to be looking at, hopefully you're in them already, because you don't want to be chasing these markets at these levels. So the idea is if you could have gotten in earlier using our software, you would be sitting real pretty right now. So in this case here, more highs are coming. The reason I say that is we got a green PTF here, a green one here. This is just turned green here. So if we open up this 60-minute chart, you can just see a sliver of green now forming over here, okay? So you've got many pyramids in a row here. Your stop, if you're long, should be right here, all right? If you want a real short scale out stop, you can move the one up on the 60-minute chart. But the more highs are coming on this. Are you due for a pullback? Sure, okay? But for right now, stay with the trend. The trend is your friend, as they say. All right, GE is our next one. All right, and again, no reason to get out of this trade yet. So if you're in it, stay with it. Too late to get in it. Wait for the retracement. Doesn't mean it can't go a little higher, but if you go in at these levels, then chances are you'll probably stay in it, and then you'll have some profit taking, and you won't be happy when that comes along until the profit taking's over. So I would wait for the profit taking and then go into it on all these that you showed me, okay? So if you're long on these, you got your pyramid here, you got green here, green across the board. Stay with the trade, okay? Just stay with it. All right, good job on that. Stuart, how are you? Let's take a look at ZBRA, technology company. All right, so let's see what we got cooking here. All right, so this one's looking good here. I know Stuart does scans for breakouts, which I love. All right, so good job on this one. So we got a breakout, a nice breakout on this weekly chart. Let's open up that weekly chart and kind of get a flavor of where this thing is going. All right, so we had a pretty decent move up here. So I'm thinking probably in the overall wave count, 1, 2. This is a very deep 4, 3, 4. So we may be moving up into a 5 right now. I'm going to take the liberty and just draw a fib extension here. And don't forget, this is a long-term chart. So for it to reach a target zone where I'm pointing up here to the far right is going to take years. This is not going to be something that's going to get between those two blue lines anytime soon, right? So if you're committed for a long-term buy and hold, this would be a really good one, I think, with a target between 546 and 763. So this is a classic example. Let's say you have your stockbroker, right? And he calls you and he says, ZBRA is looking really good from a fundamental aspect. I think you should buy it. Well, you can tell him to hold on a second, open up your ART software and see if we're in agreement. And we are. Okay, so you could tell them, okay, I'll do it. So that would be a good long-term hold, borderline investment at this particular point. So this looks really good. Let's see if there's some opportunities also on the short-term time frames, and just make sure that maybe we've got to pull back, get a little better price, but this looks pretty good regardless. So let's just take a look at that on the daily chart and the 60-minute chart. All right, awesome. Okay, we have a pyramid already hit down here that was not stopped out. So you're already long on this, not too late to get in. Fine, A-okay, okay. You're going to be probably holding this a little bit longer. Here we got 3 confirmed pyramids there. So on the 60-minute chart, I think this looks real good. So I'm going to put ZBRA in as a buy right now. And I got to tell you, it should be going up from here on. We should not have any movement below this area here. So probably set your stop around 233.94. Let me just see if that's the same on this pyramid here. Yep, it is. So you're getting in perfect here. So this could be a long-term hold, or you could play it as a short-term because it should keep going up from here, okay? So when you get a certain profit level and you see some resistance coming in and you want to make it a short-term trade, you could, but you could also hold it long-term. All right, so that's a buy. I'm going to put that on the buy list. All right, Jim, USO. Let's see how that one's coming along. All right, so we are bullish on USO. All right, it came down, put a nice little bottom. We're going to open up the weekly chart just so you can see this fairly clear over here. All right, so when we look at the weekly chart, we got the impulsive move up, 3 of some degree, 4 here, and we're probably moving up into 5, okay? So very similar to ZBRA, it's in a 5th wave. And so not so bad. We had the earlier breakout before, all right, down in this area here when this pyramid was confirmed. So it looks pretty good for right now. We got a bearish pyramid here, but I think this bottom will hold because it did retrace pretty well. So I think that pyramid indicating the profit-taking pullback, and I think that's probably over, particularly right now. Notice here also we had some greed bars show up near the top of that first move up. So it was due for profit-taking, okay? So that's kind of where we're at now on that one. Let's take the lower time frames are looking good. So let's put USO on the buy list again for this week, okay? We're liking that. I would put your stop, you know, as low as you possibly can. It has to go probably below this pyramid here at 67.18, and it's at 72. If you want to put it a little lower, you can use that price bar sitting behind the pyramids at 65.47, okay? And that should be okay. I don't think it should go below this pullback at this point. I think we're heading on up. We took out the high. You have higher highs and higher lows. So USO is a buy. And I think we'll probably get up into this target zone sometime towards the middle to end of 2024. Depends how fast it moves. All right, Stu back. All right. So SQ, let's see if he's been scanning for breakouts. There it is. Okay, SQ. Looking good. Had a gap up on the 60-minute chart. All right, gaps are a little tricky because sometimes we get a filling of the gap before we go, right? So you got to always be kind of careful of that. Now, we have a bearish price bar forming today. This could change, okay? This, by the end of the day, more buying could come in. That's a little bit of a bearish price bar. This is an inside price bar here. So my concern for a shorter term trade here is the filling of the gap. And if I was trading this from just a more of a quick position trade, I probably would wait until next week to think about entering, because I want to see if this remains as an inside price bar. Now, this is a form of technical analysis that is really, really helpful. When you have a large price bar and then after it have a smaller price bar that sits inside the larger price bar, it's called an inside price bar. And statistically, whichever way prices break out after the price bar remains inside. So let's say next week sometimes. If prices break to the upside, well, you're good for 2 to 5 price bars. We may not even fill that gap at that point. This could be a new gap forming at the beginning of a trend. Gaps form in the beginning, middle, and end of trends. So that's kind of where we're at and taking a look at that. If it breaks down next week, then we're good for 2 to 5 price bars. We're going to probably fill that gap. All right. So that's how I would play it on a short-term level. Now, long-term, let's open up the long-term chart, because the long-term chart, if we really think this thing is going to pull way, way up and take out its high, in other words, if this is a Elliott wave 1, okay, this is a 2, bottom's held here so far, then we may be going up quite a bit. Worst case scenario, we'll draw some fibs. If this is a bullish market that is indeed underway, then we're looking probably at a target of 127 to 82 conservatively. So long term, not so bad. And especially if it takes off. I think, however, what I would do on this, I'm not going to recommend this today, because if we went in here and our stops here, we don't have a good risk to reward to our conservative target. Now, if it takes off, great. But if it takes off, you're not going to miss it if we use the lower time frames to help us time the entry. So I would keep an eye on this inside price bar. Let's see what happens with that. See if it remains inside today, and then that will help us decide on what to do with this early next week. Okay, so let's put this on a watch list, Stu. It looks like I can see why you found it. Looks like a good one, but I like the other one a little bit better. Okay, let's take a look at eBay here. Okay, breakout here. We got a minor pyramid trading point here. We still got a P pyramid here. We have bullish divergence here, which is great. Green, fairly long owl. All right, usually when owls get to be extensively long like that one, we're probably due for some red owlish coming in here at some point. But let's see what it's looking like. Not so bad in terms of an entry set up on this pyramid, this pattern. So green, no red, that's good. Green. So we should make higher highs short term. So I'm thinking that's looking pretty good on that. All right, here's the way here's the way I would play this. Let me open up the weekly chart. And we have no green PTF to help us. So this is very similar to the other one. We could break out and take off from here. Let's go back to the daily chart. Here's what I think we're going to want to do on this one here. I think we broke out here, that pyramid held. I think if you want an early entry, you can go ahead and take this one. All right, so this would be okay. If you want to be a little more conservative, I'm going to go to the weekly chart here. You can put a horizontal line over here and wait for it to break above here. My two concerns with this is that we still technically have a P pyramid at the end here that's still active, but it's your fourth one. So technically after 4, you can take the MP after it. Okay, that's a rule that we have with that. So that's okay, because after 4 pyramids, you're looking for trend exhaustion. So that's okay. So I'm going to recommend this one as a buy. It's a fairly long-term buy, but I think it looks pretty good with a target. I think it probably should take out the $80 level at some point, but that's not going to happen probably this year. You're probably going to have to hold it for a year or two. All right, so that's eBay. All right, HUN, let's take a look at that one. And then your stop needs to be under that pyramid, by the way. Okay, so this one's broken out as well. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's see if we can get a target on this. Okay, this one's a little difficult to get a target on because it's a roly-poly. It goes up, pulls back, goes up, pulls back. So hopefully now, if history is ever even considered here, we should again head back up to maybe this zone here. Okay, certainly a possibility. All right, let's take a look at the smaller time frames and see if we can get some type of better look at it. Oh boy, okay, pretty kind of messy coming down, but definitely a breakout. All right, you've had a big move up here, pull back here, and now a breakout. And you have a fairly extended breakout here. Okay, here's what I would do. Wait for the next pullback, and then we can look to get in it, because I think you're going to probably have maybe a pullback into this lower region here of 24 a little bit. And I would try to make this a position trade rather than a long-term trade, simply because the wave count's a little difficult on the weekly chart to ascertain exactly if we're going to make a new high with any probability statistic on our side at this point. So I would definitely look at this for a possible shorter term trade, maybe even on the 60-minute chart, wait for wave 3 to end, and then take it up for a quick short term trade for a week or two back to the upside. All right, so I'm not going to recommend this one at this time, but definitely in the ballpark. All right, let's keep going here. All right, Al, how are you? I think welcome back. I think you might have missed last week, at least I think you did, but I'm not sure. All right, so let's see what you got cooking here. Okay, so this one is already broken out. All right, you can see it on the weekly chart. Fantastic breakout. Now the question is are we due for a pullback? Probably. I think it's got more highs to go before we get the pullback, but I think it's coming. I don't want to put people in it late right now. So I think it's got more room to go to the upside, but let's see if we can get a target on this. Okay. Well, your guess is as good as mine on that one. All right. So on this here, in terms of the beginning of a trend, you definitely have something coming up. What I'd like to see, you have more highs coming. There's no question about it. But what I'd like to see is a pullback and then go into it. So let's take a look at this next week after we get some type of profit taking possibly coming in. Okay. So that's where I am on that. Let's take a look at ISPR. Okay, not much history on this one. And it's got a huge PTF potential, but you have a red PTF on the 60-minute. So on this one here, you got to wait, okay? Possibly a scalp on the daily chart, but red PTF on the 60-minute indicates still coming down a little bit. Not quite red. We'll take a look at that next week. All right, let's roll over to RL. All right, decent breakout here in progress. Probably too late to get in it. Again, just use the pyramids, Al. I know you have our software, so use the pyramids to manage the trade. So if you're long, you want to stay with it. We should eventually get above the high here. All right, on this, let's draw some fib extensions in here. Okay, so we're in the target zone already. All right, if you get a pullback, you might have an opportunity to have one more top. We don't have a hook yet in it, so we're probably due for this. This is green, so probably a little higher here, maybe one more time like that, and then it comes down. Hard to say exactly. I don't think you've got much more room, maybe another 10% on this at the most to the upside before it goes into a correction. But you know, if you have to put your stop here and you're thinking here, your risk to reward's not there. Okay. All right, let's keep going, Bradley. All right, get in now. Oh, I love that. All right, let's see. He is saying, should I get in now? All right, let's take a look. All right, so the first thing we do when the software gives us a reason to get in, the next thing we have to do, Bradley, is determine what's the target. All right, what are we expecting out of this trade? Yes, great to get in, but if you look at this here, this was a great place to get in on this new leg up too. All right, and you would have been stopped out on this here, but at a nice profit, right? So kind of volatile. I don't know what caused that price bar, all right? but it would have stopped us out. There are more highs coming, okay? So let's see if that retraced a little bit here enough. So you certainly got into the target there, and that may be enough for the end of the correction. You've got green here on the PTF across the board. So let's see what we've got cooking here. I'm kind of going to open up this 60-minute chart because look at how clearly you can see the impulsive wave up. So let me just grab this. 1, 2, 3. All right, this would have been a 4. And so this is 5. This would have been the 4 here. So that would have, most people, including myself, would have had my stop right no lower than that. So everybody would have been stopped out there. Okay. But I do think here now we're probably looking at an opportunity to go long again. So let us take a look at that and draw some fib extensions. All right, so there's our target, and that's a nice target, 165 to 183. Now, we've got a pyramid forming. See how it's blue in color? It will not be confirmed until prices get above the pyramid. So let's wait for that to happen. All right. And then I think probably, even though this is a short-term chart, that could happen very quickly on this time frame. It also could go down. Okay. If it goes down and voids out that pyramid, you're going to be glad you didn't just go long here. All right. Again, you wait for the next setup. But I think a long trade is in the cards here. I would not go short. Long trades in the cards. Let's wait for the setup. We have no active pyramid on the daily chart, but we have green PTFs across the board. So we want to get long, but we just got to kind of time it. And if this pyramid gets hit on the 60-minute chart, I would use it. Okay. So let's put this one. I'm going to put this on a watch list, but to be quite honest with you, by the time next week rolls around, the entry would have already been taken if it's going to come, I think. So keep an eye on that one. All right. You've got the software. So wait for that thing to turn, get confirmed on the 60-minute chart. It may look, the unconfirmed pyramid on your platform will look yellow. The default color is yellow. I changed them to blue so everybody can see them more clearly on the webinars. All right. So keep an eye on that. All right. DLTR. Let's take a look at that one. All right, Sue. Okay, so get in now, and the answer is no. Okay, a couple of reasons why on this one. Red PTF here. Okay, this correction so far does not seem to be over. So this has got to turn green, and basically, if it keeps going up, maybe it'll turn green. You can think about it then, or it will sell off again and turn yellow and reset, and then we can be thankful we didn't go in. So on this case here, even if you went long here, you're kind of chasing the market at this point because you have bearish divergence here in the owl. You have a pyramid way down here that would have been beautiful to go in. And, if you go in here on this price bar, when it reaches the top of the pyramid, your stop is here, and then you trail your stops up here. So your stop would be setting right here. Now, if you were kind of getting nervous here and want to scale out, well, you had a pyramid scale out on the lower time frame here if you wanted to do that. But, so there you have it. Also, too, the PTF turned from green to yellow. So I would have scaled out here a little bit here maybe, but I would not go in now. Okay. Tesla. Okay. So the thing I like about Tesla at this point, I'm going to open up the weekly chart, is that we had the huge run up. So here's an example where you don't want to chase the market, right? So if you said, Ben, let's look at this, should I go in now? I probably would say no, all right? Simply because this is what happens during the profit-taking stage, right? It's better to let the profit-taking stage happen if you get in late. You got in here or on this pyramid down here, okay, you're sitting pretty, all right? You just stay with the trade if you want to, or use the 60-minute chart and get out near the top. All right, in this case here, we had a big move up, we had a big move here. we got red here, and we got an active pyramid here. So it's still kind of in this little bit of funky pullback here. And we want to make sure, I'm pretty certain as I can be in the markets, that this bottom will hold. That's not the issue. The question is, how much closer are we going to come down to it before we see bullishness come in? And it may be coming in, but it's certainly not apparent yet on the weekly chart. Not quite apparent on the daily chart because we still have a red owl over here. Kind of apparent over here, right? So that's looking pretty good. I just want to make sure that we aren't in a situation like this where we come up to a fib retracement area like here, and then it decides to make one more low. So it comes down here and then goes, okay? So let's wait a little longer. Let's get a pyramid over here first before I think entering it. So I would hold off on that one, okay? For sure right now. Even the 60-minute chart, okay, is actually tradable, but the problem is we're so close to a potential conservative target that it probably doesn't make sense to take it, okay? Long term, if you were in this long term and your stop was down here at the bottom, you just hold it, okay? All right, let's go here, Al, BURL. All right, so let's see. Okay, so too late to go in it. If you're in it here, let's wait for a pullback. You've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pyramids. All right, tremendously profitable trade using the pyramids on the 1 minute. So, you know, that's fine. But if you look here, okay, we had a big move up, big pullback. I like that. So I don't mind a long trade here because this could be a bottom, but I think we're going to have a pretty good pullback here. So let's wait for that to happen. I think probably maybe down into this area and then it could go. So let's wait for the pullback on that one as well. And we can take a look at that later next week and see how that's progressing. CVS. Okay, so let's open up the weekly chart and see where we stand on this. So big pullback here, okay? And then we made, boy, that's a tough one. Let's see if we made a new high here. So that high is 111.25. No, it did not. So do we have a double top? Do we have a failed 5? All right, or are we still in 5 and we're just kind of a sloppy 5, so to speak, okay? Where we could go up higher. Let's draw some fib extensions in this one as well and see maybe, let me just make sure I'm taking a look at all the data here. So let's see if we can get a good idea of where this thing could be eventually going once it kind of gets squared away here. So, well, it hit that target zone there. Okay, so we got to be a little careful here. All right, so is wave 5 finished and that's all it's going to give us? And we're still kind of going to be stuck in a range or come down a little bit, or are we heading up? So let's go to the daily time frame for help on this and see what possibly could be going on here. All right, well, it still is not going to help us know if we're going to break that high yet, but it can tell us if there is a retracement trade that makes sense on this, and probably not, okay? PTF's higher on this and this, so we're probably going to go back into the target, and then we'll see. So there's 2 wave counts here of equal intensity, and so I passed, okay? One of the wave counts is bullish, one is bearish. All right, D, B, D. You know, that's one, you know, if I scratch my head too much, then I know it's not a good trade. All right, let's take a look at this. Not a lot of history here. No Elliott wave help there. A little bit of a PTF help. We're seeing bearish divergence here. Okay. Let's see what we got. We probably got one more high here, though. So I'm thinking it's still going to go up, And the 60-minute chart over here is giving me that clue. So let's open that up for a moment and see on this latest impulsive run where we could end up here. So give me 1 second. Let's draw some fib extensions. Not worried about the pullback. I'm just trying to see where the profit potential is here. And let's see what we got. All right, so there's the target. All right, so 80, we're at 77.35. Whoops, don't know where that one went. Okay, maybe it was it not loading? Was that a different stock? Oh, that's kind of weird. All right, so yeah, okay, good. All right, I don't know, it kind of reset. All right, so in this case here, we do not have a green PTF over here. So I guess the data on the intraday 60-minute had not filled. So that's a problem, okay? Look at all this white down here. Let's see, I'm more concerned now about a pullback to 28 to 24 than I am more highs. If anything, this could start to be setting up for a short trade, because that's a decent pullback on a, for a few days, but I don't see a long trade on this, okay? And I don't see the short. I don't think I'd take the short trade now because the owl's too bullish on the 1 minute and we got active pyramids. I wouldn't do anything with this, okay? All right, thank you though, Al. All right, Alexander, good to have you here. All right, AMD. Everybody's sticking to their 3 symbol picks. I appreciate that. You can always come back. It just kind of helps everybody out. All right, so you're watching this. Okay, so on this case here, it's come up a lot, and we've got a little bit of a pullback here. Alexander, I think it's going to make one more high short term, and then go into a more significant pullback. However, I'm concerned since we're already in the target on the weekly chart. One more high, all right, could certainly turn that PTF yellow. It looks like it's a wave 3 it's in now. So this is a 3 inside a 3, 4. And I say that because the owl's the highest on the weekly. So I think probably wait for the pullback and then go in it. So let's long-term bullish on AMD. It's in a wave 3 now on the weekly chart, not a wave 5. It's on a wave 3. But that target zone I have on the weekly chart could be the target zone for the current wave 3. And so after wave 3, you're going to get a fairly decent correction, and then we'll take a look at it, okay? All right, let's take a look at Netflix, NFLX. All right, so moving up quite substantially here. All right, had a big profit-taking pullback. And so let's see. Again, too late to go in, okay? Don't go in. You'll be chasing the market. Would have been better to have looked at a pyramid here during the initial breakout here, right? So it's just too late. SMCI. Oh, this has been a good one. All right. So again, big run up here. And now you're probably going to see some form of a pullback, which is going to give everybody an opportunity to enter this trade if they missed it. Now, the pyramids did a great job putting you in this, okay? Boom, okay? It's also got the stop far away. And the reason it does that is because of the volatility now. It's trying to keep you in the trade. This is green, this is green, this is green. Now, if you wanted to take profits, which I can understand, considering the run-up, all right, you have a pyramid sitting here now, if you haven't gotten out. So that's something that you may want to consider putting a stop at in case this thing pulls back even more. And I would do it, I wouldn't get out of everything necessarily, but maybe a scale out to lock in some profits, because what could happen with this is that we could get a pullback. A couple of things could happen. We could get a pullback, stays bracketed for a while before it starts moving up. And if you want the money, take some money off the table and put it someplace else, or keep it in a safe place and then apply it when it comes back up, you can do that. But I'll leave that management of the trade the way you want. But I'm going to tell you, there are more highs. This is probably the infancy of a big bull run here on SMCI. The question is that, you know, during the profit taking point, if you're an active trader and you're trading the swings, you're probably going to get out and then get back in during the next big swing up. So if you're a long-term investor, you would just hold it. Okay, that type of thing. All right, so that's kind of where I would be at that. I don't think, you know, you're definitely got some more movement up for sure. And I think you're going to take out this high here a little bit more. Hard to know exactly how much it could go up. If this is a minor 4 inside here, major 4, let's open up this here and just see, because this is going to show the 4 here better. So let's take a look at the fib retracements, and we're going to call this pyramid here 2. So you hit the wave 4 retracement, came back up. All right, let's draw the fib extensions in and see if there's enough room for a trade up here. Well, it might be. Okay, might be. Certainly might be. My only issue is this is, you know, you're going to be forced to put the stop here. So, all right, maybe 2 to 1 to get into that target. More like probably 1 to 1.8, pretty close. So you got 2, PTF is green here. I like that. You do have bearish divergence on the next high. So that makes sense for that. I'm going to say yes for a short-term trade on this one. Actually, I've changed my tune on that. So short-term trade based on the 60-minute chart, putting your stop at the pyramid for one more move up, and then you got to get out. You got to get out up here, because once you get out on this next high, you'll be at the end of 3 on this time frame. Not on the 5-minute, on the weekly rather, but on the daily. And then you got to get out, because then it's going to go into a daily wave 4 correction, which will be pretty severe. Okay, so I'll put that down. Okay, good job, Alexander. All right, let's take a look. TDC for Alan. All right, so actually liking that. Well, I guess I don't. All right, gap down here, gap down here. I've got a red PTF here, so I'm not seeing, that's not a good sign for a long trade. I have to wait for that to go away, okay? So bring that one back. All right, short, not enough move for the short, okay? Because the PTF here is only calling this as the target, and it's retraced quite a bit already because of the gap, and this is green still over here. So maybe one more slight low here is all you're going to get, and then maybe consider a long, okay? But I wouldn't go long and I wouldn't go short here, okay? All right, Al's back. All right, these are all shorts for him, EXPD. Let's see if we can get a scalp trade for a short off this. All right, red here, I'm liking that. Red here, I'm liking that. And let's see what we got cooking. A little bit of green here. Okay, so if you wanted to take a short scalp, put your stop here, targets here, because you find the lowest price in the red PTF, and that's your target. 75% accuracy rate, which is really good on this indicator. The problem here is that, is this the right place for the stop? And the only reason that makes me second guess that is because this is green now. So, you know, this, I'd like this to turn red. So you have 2 options. You could wait for this to roll back to red and see if this top holds. Or if the momentum continues to build, you may see a reversal bar, make one more high, and then have it drop off. And then you could put your stop there with a little more confidence when this turns back to red. So if you don't mind an early entry, you could take it here, okay? It's not for the weak-minded, okay? You could certainly take it, put it a tick or so above that high, go short now, or if you want to be a little bit more conservative, wait for this to turn red and then make sure when it does, you still have a 2-to-1 risk to reward. Okay. So I'll put this down as a short trade on the 60-minute chart, because even if you get stopped out, stay with it, because the next one probably will be, every time you get stopped out and the indicators are still indicating a short trade, your probabilities increase that the next trade is going to be the one that does it. So usually if I get stopped out on an early entry and I still like the trade, then I look for another way to get in once the market tends to head back in the direction I want. Okay, so I'm going to put that down again, not for the light of heart, but certainly a possibility. All right, let's take a look at MMM. Let that load across the board. All right, so let's see, make sure all the data's in. All right, no short here, okay? I don't have any red PTFs. I have bullish divergence building in the 60-minute chart, and now it's green. So we're probably due for a retracement up into this area, like around 100. So I wouldn't go short here, okay? So let's take a look at this one, CMCSA. Okay, let's take a look at this one for a short. So where is the PTF short? You got two of them here. You got one, let's see if they're the same price. No, they're not. All right, so in this time frame here, you've got a PTF short trade on the daily chart right here. Okay, that's the lowest low in the PTF area. So that's the target. Now, there's not enough risk to reward here, I don't think, because you got to put your stop up here. So that's off the table. Let's see if the weekly chart is better. All right, so let's actually bring that up and take a look here. Okay, so there is a better, let me just draw it in here. There is a better target here. Okay. And again, you've got like a double top here. Good sign for a stop, right? So you got a little bit of green here. So you kind of want to wait for that to turn red. But since your stop is going to be above here, yeah, you may get a pull up a little bit, but then it should roll over. So this trade, you could take a short now, longer term. It's going to take a while, to get down here, but not too far. You should do it by, I think, the middle to the end of the summer if it's going to go. So yeah, I think you could do a short on this, and I'll call this, I'll call it long term, because you might be in this for more than 6 months. Stop's got to go above here, okay? If you want to be more conservative, wait for this to turn red, you can do so. But at this price here, you got a good 2-to-1. So I probably would take it now. And the trade will fail if the stop loss placement is not in the right place. Okay, that's the thing. PTF can still be right. It could make one more high and then sell off, and the PTF would be correct. The problem is your trade would fail because you got stopped out before the PTF could do its thing. All right, so there you have it. All right, Alexander is back. All right, long. All right, SPOT. Good job, guys, telling me whether long or short. I appreciate that. All right, long. Yeah, long is good, but you're too late. Not a new long. Put it that way. Wait for a pullback. All right. If you're long already, just use the pyramids. So Alexander, I know you have our software, so you can check those out, right? All right, RCL. Let's take a look at that. RCL. All right. Green, no red on the PTF. Got a red here. Got a red pyramid here. A little bit of a gap up. Very interesting market here. All right. Question, where is it going? All right. If this is, that's a tough one. 3, 4, 5. Kind of tough on that one. Trying to filter out the noise a little bit. Maybe, let me just draw a fib extension of some sort. Wrong one. I don't want the time. I want the extension. All right, let's do this one here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm not this is not doing it for me, okay? So I don't think I would do anything with this one. All right, and that's RCL. Goldman Sachs, let's take a look at GS. All right, so this is what we looked at last week, and it should work its way up now into the target zone between 429 and 521. So it should work its way up into that area. Let's see what's going on in the lower time frames, because I think when we looked at it last week, we were kind of thinking, oh boy, we got to wait for a retracement. I still think that's the right thing to do. All right, so it looks like the PTF now in the 60 is yellow, so we may go up a little bit higher. Could go to 400. All right, but then let's see here where it could retrace to, and it could go down to 356 to 331. So think about it this way. Let's say you got in here, or even 400. Let's go to 400. Let's say it goes up to 400. You get in now, and you're really happy because it's sitting at 402 or something. But then it goes into the profit-taking zone. Are you going to be happy if it goes down here to 359 to 333? Probably not. And if it's a position trade, you're probably going to get out at a loss. So that's an example. When you chase markets, you may make a little money short term, but then you have to time it so darn perfect that you avoid this. And it's not the preferred way, I think, to do it. Okay, so I look for a cleaner setup where from the get-go I kind of have a good stable target zone to shoot for. Now, if you're thinking about trading this long term, all right, and you want to use this pyramid down here, and don't worry, or actually put it a little further down for the profit-taking wave to survive that, you could do that. But I would wait on this. Keep bringing it. But I think you're probably about a month or so out, maybe two, before you actually will have a better entry down in the profit-taking zone. Okay? Great. All right, Eleanor, how are you? All right, GTC. And you are long on these. GTCT. Okay. So this one, breaking out, not a lot of history on this, right? This causes me a little concern over here. So, oh boy. All right, so this is still long. This is coming down. I'm thinking this is a tough call. This is kind of like the other one, Goldman Sachs. Could we poke up and get a little higher before it decides to pull back again? Sure. This is red here, indicating that this is not a final low on the pullback, and we have not broken above the high. So interesting, right? What's interesting about this one here is that, check this out. Remember we talked about inside price bars? Here's a big price bar, here's an inside, and notice the break was above, so it's good for 2 to 5 price bars above that high. So we got that, all right? Now we could get a few more, all right? But that's probably going to be pretty close to it before it may pull back again. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pyramids so far visible, even more if you go back further. But on this leg up, you got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You would have gotten stopped out here. So I'm thinking, no, I don't like that big price bar down. And so that kind of throws off a legitimate analysis on this to figure out if that's a correction that's finished or it's not. And according to the PTF on the 60, it's questionable that it's not. Okay, so I would avoid that one. All right, if you're long already, all right, you may want to put your stop under here and see if that holds, but I don't think it's going to. All right, according to this. So you're going to have to play that. He's either put your stop under one of these price bars higher up to lock in some profits and then try to get back in or decide what you want to do. All right, more highs are coming. I'm just short term a little concerned about it. Long term, we're in a wave 3. So this should continue to go on up. So if you want to keep holding it, just hold it and don't worry about having your stop so close. Have it way down here at this point. But that means you would have had to gotten in early. Okay. So your trade size is going to be small. Maybe an option would be the best way to play this one, like a simple call option. I'd even make it a leap. Okay. Hold it for a long time. CLS. Not enough history on there to get a good take on it. That's the problem. All right, CLS, we looked at this one, kept going up and up. All right, so now this one has climbed really high. Last time we looked at this, we were expecting a pullback, didn't get it. Okay, so it kept going up. All right, so in this case here, all right, what a tremendous entry here would have been. And, you know, if we stayed out because it was extended here, then, you know, again, this is what can happen sometimes. However, when you get in early, it takes the guesswork out. You don't have to worry about making decisions. Is this the high? Is this the high? Is this the high? If you're in already, you're in. So that's the type of thing there. More highs are coming on this, and also a big pullback is in the cards as well. All right. So I probably just continue to wait for the pullback. But more highs are coming. If you were in this long term for a buy and hold, just hold it. Okay, your stop can be under 20 bucks. And that should keep you in for a long time. All right, MOD. These are all stocks that if you had gotten in early, just continue to hold it. But if you're thinking about getting in now, you may have to suffer a pullback before it takes off again. All right, same thing with this. I mean, look at it. It's run up. Would you go in? Is it better to go in here or here? Okay. If you're in it, is there any reason to get out of it? No, because the pyramids still have you long. So it all depends on if you're in it already or if you're thinking about going in. So if you're in it already, I would just stay. If you're not, I wouldn't chase it. All right. So hopefully that helps. Okay. So I guess also too, everybody, if you give me stocks and you say long, let me know if you're considering the long position. All right. Put long question mark if you're thinking about going in it. And if you're already in it, just put long like Eleanor did here. Okay. All right. Lulu. All right, so Lulu is perked up. We got a target on Lulu Al at 529 to 701 in a green PTF. So it's probably going to go up into that target again. A little profit taking right now, not unusual. All right, but it should return and go up. Okay, I would not short this. Okay. Let's see what else. Take a look at your other one, DXEGX. And you are short this one. All right, this is a better short. I assume you're already short, right? So your target here is here. So just hold it until the PTFs turn yellow. If you're not in this yet, then probably don't go yet, okay? Let's see if it comes up a little bit more, maybe on the 60-minute chart, that'll give you a 2-to-1 again, okay? But I'm assuming you may have gotten in earlier when this rolled over here, okay? But I would not go short now. How about NVIDIA? Let's take a look at that bad boy, huh? What do you think about that? Look at that. Okay. I'm telling you, since basically October, the market has just soared. I mean, look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. It still looks like it's going higher again. Probably due for some pullback at some point, but you got a green PTF, strong owl, even on the 60-minute. So it's not ready to pull back yet. And you've got power on the weekly chart still. You do have a yellow PTF here now. but the shorter time frame under that is bullish, and you got a greed bar showing up here at the top. So it'll be interesting. Now, if prices break above the greed bar, you usually have more greed continue. So it's a signal bar. All right. So if it breaks above it, then you're good for, it's kind of like an inside price bar. You're good for another 2 to 5 price bars above the greed bar. If it breaks below, then you're going to snap back to the trend line, probably in 2 to 5 price bars, that type of thing. Okay. And Al says he is short on DGX. Okay. Well, you're in good shape then. All right. So if we go back to that one, now that I know you're short already, you just hold it. Okay. And then when the PTFs turn yellow, you exit. That's kind of the PTF scalp trade. Cool. Good job. All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Going once, going twice. All right. So let me see. Let me just give it a second because some people type in stuff a little late. So let me know. All right. Alexander. Good. You got a couple more here. All right. DW. Start typing them in now if you have any more because it keeps the flow going. All right. DWAC. Let's see. Not a lot of history on this. We've looked at this one before. This was a breakout across the board. All right. I'm pretty sure we recommended this one before. So looks like more highs coming, but we're in that little funky target zone. So here's an example of when you don't have a lot of history. Look at the weekly chart. We only go back to 2021. It's impossible to get an accurate Elliott wave count on it. Just is. Okay. The only thing we can look at are the impulsive waves up or down and bottoms when they break out of bottoms. Other than that, it's hard to know unless the PTF is telling us where it's going to go. And the PTF is indicating that we're going to see more highs, but only above this high here. So that means only above like 59 and some change here. Let's see what it is. So 50, I can find the high, 58.72. All right. So, and we're at 47. So that is a problem. And even if you put your stop really close here, you're kind of a little shy on the 2 to 1. Now, if it's a breakout on the weekly chart, so maybe we could start a big trend and get above 200, but we can't statistically know that because there's no Elliott wave count possible on that. All right. So unfortunately, we need a little more history to get an idea of a better target on that. Okay. So if you're in it, what I would do, if you're in it, stay in it. And when the PTFs turn yellow, then keep your stop fairly close so you can capture any profits if it reverses. All right, MARA. Let's take a look at that one for you. All right, so this is another one that corrected, looking for it to get into the target zone. It did, then pulled back, little profit taking, not uncommon, but now we're probably going to go back up. And I say that because this is green and this is green. So I don't think it's quite done yet. Okay. So if it's a short-term trade, you're going to take profits when this goes yellow on the PTF. And if it's a long-term trade and you want to keep it, then you keep your stop under this pyramid because that should turn green and just let it go. Okay. That's MARA. And then finally, gold. Okay. Gold is another interesting one because it hit its target. You know, if we take a look at this and go way back quite a ways here, 2011 actually was the wave 3, and we had a wave 4, and now we're working ourselves up to this wave 5 here. Okay, so the target's around 220, but short-term target was here, hit, pulled back, but this is green and this is green, so we should see more upside. So you just hold it. Again, that's the benefit of the PTF, is it gives you confidence on whether to hold stuff or not. So I'm kind of it's a great indicator for that. Going to remove these short-term lines over here. Okay, good. All right, Eleanor, good. All right, crowd, CRWD. All right, big move up, no reason to get out, really. On a long-term trade, your stop can be on this pyramid here. All right, just under 250. Let's see what that would be exactly. All right, so down low, 238.60 is where you could have your stop for a long-term position. And it should continue to go up from there. Now, short-term, you don't want to touch it, okay? It's pulling back right now, okay? So let it pull back. Let me just make sure. Well, that's been a big run since October too. So let's see where we got a potential pullback area, because you might need to place it under that stop for a long-term trade. So that's 192. Let's see where this one is showing. Yeah, I think you got to move it down. This is 251. So I don't want you to get stopped out on a profit-taking pullback if you're in this long-term. So you got to put your stop at around a little, I would put it under 191, okay? You can put it on this pyramid back here, but you got to survive that. Now, if you're happy with the profits on this run up, well, you would have been out already, okay? And if you're not out, you could still get out right now because the price has bounced up right here in the area where you could get out. So short-term position trade, exit. Long-term, move your stop to 191. And if you want to swing trade it, wait for it to get down to the retracement area, go long. If you're an aggressive swinger and you want to try to short it, look for a shorting position, but I wouldn't do it yet, okay? All right, good. All right, let's see, an NVO. All right, same thing with NVO in terms of what a tremendous run up, and you have a green PTF, huge owl on the weekly chart. No reason to get out of this, okay? Expect a pullback, yes, but no reason to get out. Now, if you are happy with the leg up here, then I would, definitely ratchet up a pyramid, okay? You'll probably get another pyramid forming soon, but so I wouldn't really do anything. I'd have your stop right here, all right? Let it pull back a little bit, probably get a new pyramid on the daily chart in the center that you could use if you wanted to get out of the swing trade near the top, okay? Now, also too, if you want to scale out, you could do that now because that would have taken you out and even at better prices now. So there's so many different ways to manage the trade, and it all depends if you're a long-term position trade and where you're at on that, okay? But that gives you some options. Market looks strong still, folks, and this is what I was trying to say going into this year. Once we took out that 2022 top, all right, all bets were off at that point. So now the market, market top, we were calling of 40,000 and some change, all the way up to possibly 47,000. All right, looks now a big possibility, right? Before people were going, oh, I don't think it's going to go that high. Well, and a lot of doomsayers were saying the market's going to sell off. Well, I think the market is going to sell off, but it's not ready yet. And I think probably won't be ready, maybe not until maybe the latter part of this year. But we got to hit that target zone first before we start thinking or looking for that big sell-off. So follow the trend. And as you can see here, markets are still powerful. Okay, they're still moving up. Do not fight the trend. The trend is up for the most part. Profit taking due, yes. But after that, we should have a resumption. And then the next high we got to be concerned about. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at on this. All right, so I think that's it. I don't see any more coming in. So let me roll over here and go over the winners real quick. All right, so we got ZBRA, and that's a long-term trade. We got USO, that's good. EBAY, good. SMCI, short-term trade. Remember, that's that one on the 60-minute charts, the little quickie there. Same thing with EXPD, short-term trade. and then CMCSA long-term. All right, on the watch list, we got SQ, we got CE, and AMD on the watch list. So let's take a look at those next week, bring those back. All right, so what I'm going to do, there's no other picks coming in. I'm going to put this on the intraday time frames. That's always a fun thing to do. So let me just run over there and see what's going on here. You know, we have a day trading room where we day trade futures markets. And this is the natural gas E-mini, okay, getting pretty wildly to the downside. Let's see what the MES is looking like. All right, that's coming off a bottom, but we have a red PTF. So not so sure. I'm looking more for a short trade probably on the MES this morning than a long trade. So we're kind of due for a pull down. And I would imagine we'll see that on many of the markets here. Okay, so we're kind of in that zone. The other one that's fun to trade on this is natural gas. This has been making some incredible lows here. Okay, as you can see. I wouldn't short this. It's too late. It would have been a good short this morning. But right now, probably getting close to a bottom. We may be able to find a long-term retracement trade at some point this morning if you kept with that. Let's see what gold's doing. Gold has taken off. All right, so that's been really good. Pyramids have done a great job on gold. So there you are. Okay, so you know all the markets intraday move their own direction. Sometimes even when the market's overall bullish, we take some short trades intraday because we're trading the intraday swings, which are back and forth. All right, listen, great to see everybody here. I'll put this on full screen here a little bit here, put a little music on, and we'll close the room in just a few minutes. Thank you for being here, and we'll be back next week, okay? So we'll see you back here next Friday. Thanks so much, everybody. Great picks today, and see you next week. you.